First things first, we want to get the arms nice and warm, and so we're going to swing them around, give them a lot of movement, get those shoulders, elbows, wrists, even the neck nice and warm, but more importantly we're getting good blood flow into those arms. Next we're moving into the overhead squat. Now this is what we call a compound exercise, meaning we're using multiple joints in one movement. We squat every single day, so it's really important to practice this movement. Next we're moving into body rocks. Now body rocks are great for warming up the hips and the lower back, even the hammies. Now if you find your leg doesn't sweep through the bottom properly, generally that means your glutes are pretty tight. Now we roll over prone to kind of like a scorpion kick, and this is really good again for that lower back. Now if you find your leg won't reach over and it's forced to bend, generally that means your hip flexors and lower back is a bit tight. Now we're moving into the YTW. Now the name is pretty self-explanatory when you think about it, and what I'm doing right now is I'm squeezing the muscles between my shoulder blades, so my back retraction muscles, and as you can see here I'm pinching back. It's important that we practice this exercise because we use these muscles when we do a seated row or a deadlift or a bent over row, but even more importantly for us desk workers that we practice this exercise. Now we get into the super important but often negated rotator cuff exercises. Now what I'm doing here with the pole is I'm just stretching external rotation, which is great for shoulder press. Now we're getting into external rotation here, and it's really important that I keep that elbow pinned in so I can isolate the reverse of my shoulder, and it's also really important to keep the body nice and still, again, so I can isolate those external rotators of the rotator cuff, as you can see where I'm pointing to right here. Elbow in, turning out. Now, what I'm warming up here is the outside of my shoulder, or the supraspinatus, as far as the rotator cuff's concerned. Really important, the supraspinatus doesn't lift above the shoulder, so there's no need for us to lift the weight up, and it's important we keep our thumb up as we go. And we really want to focus on using just the shoulder and not the muscles of the arms to lift. Now, this is what we call an open and close pack exercise. It's really good for warming up in the rotator cuff, and again, we want to keep those shoulders dead level, lift that arm up, and really sink it down in the bottom. We want to do this both sides, of course. Now we're going to warm up the ankle. So we're going to start first by giving the calves a good stretch, about 60 seconds each side. You can see I'm using the pole to lever in. But more importantly, we want to mobilize the ankle, so really increase that dorsiflexion. This is super important for squatting, and make sure that when we're doing this, we want to keep that heel planted on the ground. Next we have ankle taps. Don't judge them till you try them. Great for proprioception. Now, if you've never been able to touch your toes, may I provide you with a solution. This is what we call the inchworm. Now, the inchworm is amazing for building up your hamstring flexibility, but it's important to remember, guys, you got to keep your legs straight as you rise and as you decline, so just little adjustments with those ankles. Next, we have the aptly named perfect stretch, which is really good for warming up the hips, warming up the lower back, and really helping you warm up that twisting rotation of the thoracic. Now after piecing all of that together with some nice skipping, we are ready to work out.